we talked about this with Mehdi on Friday, but there is a seemingly sort of now a broad understanding in the mainstream media that there is mass starvation going on in Gaza. This is not something that happens overnight, although I guess with children, it literally could. But there is a broader understanding of it, and we're starting to see more understanding and appreciation that the death toll in Gaza, which of course we've been saying here, and Emma's been beating this drum for months and months and months, is probably significantly larger than the official tally. At this point,
that's all they can verify, basically, in terms of they need to be able to put names to people in order to count the death toll as official. But there are literally just hundreds of thousands of people unaccounted for, likely under rubble.
Miles of rubble.
There were reports maybe a year ago that they were just like putting flesh and body parts into bags and in some way like sort of semi-counting that as one dead person, but that's not in the official death toll. I mean, Israel hasn't let any journalists outside of the Palestinian journalists who they're assassinating in Gaza in for a reason. And it's because they don't want the West to catch up to what they're doing until it's entirely too late. And that's my cynical feeling about this moment right now. I'm happy to see Obama and other Democrats talking about starvation in Gaza. But my feeling is that this is a bit of a CYA, because we know that the level of starvation that so many people are facing, it might quite literally be too late, even if they were to get nutrition tomorrow or in the next hour.
And I've seen now, we're starting to see reports. I mean, again, because of those reasons, much of it is sort of educated guesses, but up to perhaps 20% of the Palestinian population in Gaza could be dead now. And with this said, two human rights groups in separate reports released jointly said that Israel's policies in Gaza, statements about senior officials about its goals, and the systemic dismantling of the territory's health system has contributed to their conclusion of genocide. The two groups, B'Tselem and Physicians for Human Rights Israel, have not been allowed into Gaza. Their reports are based on testimonies, documents, eyewitnesses, and consultations with legal experts. So there is a growing awareness across, various sectors of, I guess, of the world, and including within the context of Israel. And it seems, like we say, increasingly in this country, that Israel's not only guilty of genocide and a willful starvation of the Palestinian people living in Gaza. And we're starting to see one of the indications that something feels imminent, whether it is the understanding that journalists are going to get in there, that people are going to start to have documented accounts of what's going on in there from the outside world into Gaza, is starting to, it appears, make many of those who are the architects of this and the enablers of this worried that they may have to be held to account. And at least rhetorically, we're starting to see sort of the most obscene of defenses. It's not hard to find some of these people on Twitter or X saying, well, people were saying that it was a genocide so early. People were saying that there was mass starvation so early that it made it impossible for us to be aware of it. And not the least of which is Anthony Blinken, who is on the X-Files podcast with Christian Amanpour. This is what Blinken had to say. It's just shocking and appalling.
Of course, I'm very proud of my heritage. And of course, what happened on October 7th resonated in a personal way with me, not just a professional way, because in my own family history, I have, relatives who were forced out of countries by pogroms and came to the United States. A late stepfather who was a Holocaust survivor who survived Auschwitz and Dachau and Majdanek, and all these camps. His entire family was exterminated. And so the act, the horrific act of October 7th brought a lot of that to the surface. And I thought it was important in that moment to connect in a personal way with so many people in Israel who were traumatized. But in so many ways, that day in the collective global consciousness has been almost erased by everything that followed. And
why is that?
I wish.
I'm sorry. Like, this level of narcissism is just exhausting. It's exhausting. What happened to Blinken's ancestors is a horrific crime, or family members is a horrific crime, which is why people were saying in the wake of October 7th, let's not commit those crimes again. When we're talking about the starvation, this is going to affect, even if people survive this genocide, like it did for Jews in the extermination camps in the Holocaust. It's going to affect their children on a cellular level. This is the generational trauma that he inflicted on Palestine, that he's using this moment to talk about his own history. You did it to other people. It's going to be the same thing. The genetics of these folks will be indelibly altered by the starvation that they've experienced, and their children will feel the effects. So he's talking about his experience with this when he's doing it to other people.
That those, and I feel this so strongly because I also feel deeply the suffering of men, women, and children in Gaza. I've met with families, American families, Palestinian Americans, who lost their entire families, little girls and little boys. I have the pictures that I've still kept of one family. And so I have some sense of what they're going through, and there's no hierarchy of loss. There's no hierarchy. There's no difference.
Sounds like it.
Between an Israeli child, a Palestinian child.
I mean, what's shocking about this is that he could easily have been citing his family as a fundamental reason why I would not enable this to happen again. And it is as if he had nothing to do with the policy.
No agency.
Not like absolutely just sort of everything in the passive voice here. And but he is now sort of like, this is his wind up to find out like why, what's going to justify his fundamental role in enabling this. Continue.
Killed in this horror that Hamas initiated. But I wish as well that those who understandably have been so moved and motivated by everything that's happened since October 7th, if they'd spent just maybe 10% of their time calling on Hamas, demanding Hamas put down its arms, give up the hostages, stop what it's doing. Maybe if the world had done that, we'd also be in a different place. But to come to your question, more specifically.
Just hold on, stop. I mean, just like in what possible scenario, aside from the fact that we know on multiple occasions, including under the Biden administration, Hamas offered to release all the hostages. I mean, from day one, release all the hostages if no invasion. But subsequent to that, release the hostages if you promise to end the war. I mean, what possible difference if 10% of anything of anybody, like what is he talking about here?
Also,
this is just some type of excuse for him to sort of justify, like, yeah, they sort of made us do it.
Right. I mean, it's like saying, you know, the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. It was so horrific. And so everything that followed, it was basically understandable. And you have to understand the full picture of the extermination. Like, it's unfathomable. And also, Hamas did not start this on October 7th. Israel has been, quote, putting Gaza on a diet, blocking food and electricity and water and all of that for decades. They have been putting Palestinians on a diet for this entire time period. This is just the final solution of the starvation that has already been in place for almost my entire lifetime.
Does anybody think that Blinken's State Department put 10% of its energy towards getting Israel to stop? Nobody in the world could argue that.
Continue. Let's just see. Give it another couple of seconds.
Calling on Hamas, demanding Hamas put down its arms, give up the hostages, stop what it's doing. Maybe if the world had done that, we'd also be in a different place. But to come to your question, more specifically, look, I think what President Biden told Prime Minister Netanyahu from day one, exactly as you said, was exactly right. And there's a big difference between doing your best to eliminate the threat such that what happened on October 7th couldn't be repeated versus some futile and misguided campaign to try to eradicate all of Hamas that simply is not going to happen and will leave Israel holding the bag. We believe before the October 7th, there were somewhere around 35 to 40,000 armed Hamas militants, again, organized militarily. And that military organization was dismantled by what Israel did, and it was dismantled more.
Whatever.
I mean, it's as if he had absolutely no role in any of this. It is fascinating and also just horrific. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Just one final note. I would, if you want to feel a little bit heartened, go to the comment section of Amanpour's video here, and every one of them is like the top one here. This guy is a war criminal. Genocide, Blinken still lying. How does he sleep at night? His compliance to the horrific suffering of the Palestinian people will be his legacy. So this ain't working. And they should probably course correct, if only for their self-preservation, because I know they don't. I know Blinken doesn't actually care about Palestinians, despite claiming to carry photos with them around.
And you just headline this, Sam. The Democratic Party's approval rating is the lowest it's been in, like 30 years is what you said? So could supporting a genocide and stabbing Palestinians in the back as opposed to in the chest like the Republicans do, could that have anything to do with how people feel about it? I mean, New York primary voters seem to think so.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.